Bad feng shui in your sink is the reason you're always broke. You think it's just dishes, but in feng shui, your kitchen sink controls water, and water is money. So every time you leave it dirty, dripping, or full of crap, you're basically flushing your wealth down the drain. No crystals, no hacks, no affirmations will help if your sink is a mess. Fix it first. In feng shui, your kitchen isn't just for cooking. It's where your wealth energy gets activated. And right at the center of it is the sink. If that sink is dirty, dripping, or full of old food, that's not just bad hygiene. That's blocked water energy. And in feng shui, water is money. So every bit of grime, every slow drip, is a signal to the universe. I'm not ready to receive. Clean it, clear it, make space for wealth to flow again. If your sink is blocking your wealth, just wait till you see what your fridge is doing. This video is part of the playlist. Everyday feng shui mistakes that drain your wealth. Little habits, big leaks. We fix them one space at a time. So stay till the end, because I'm going to show you 3 simple ways to reset your kitchen sink and let money flow again. Still leaving dirty dishes in the sink overnight? You're not just tired. You're slowly telling money, don't bother coming in. You know those nights. You finish dinner, look at the sink, and think, ugh, I'll do it tomorrow. You walk away. The food settles. The smell builds slowly, but it's there. The water in the cup starts turning cloudy. Grease clings to the plates. And by morning, you've got a little ecosystem growing in your kitchen. Now here's what we don't realize. That sink, it's not just holding dishes, it's holding energy. In feng shui, the sink is where water, your wealth energy, gathers and flows. And when you let it sit still, with dirty water, old food, and leftover chaos, you're not just leaving a mess. You're signaling blockage. You're letting the most valuable energy in your space, the flow, stagnate. It becomes this quiet, daily message. Money can wait. It's not a priority right now. And guess what? It listens. The results are subtle but steady. You lose a little cash here, a late fee there, a small repair you didn't plan for. You feel like you're managing, but never quite catching up. It's not chaos. It's the quiet, slow leak of abundance. So how do you fix it? Not by scrubbing till midnight. Not by turning your kitchen into a showroom. Just start with one simple habit. Don't leave the sink full when you go to bed. Even if you're tired. Even if it's just a couple of plates. Rinse them. Stack them in the dishwasher. Run hot water through the drain for a few seconds. Then take a cloth and wipe around the faucet. That's it. No perfection. Just movement. Just care. It's like saying, this space matters. I respect what flows through here. Because in feng shui, water is money. And what you do with water at the end of your day is how you're closing your energy account. I used to be that person. Dinner done, Netflix on, and the sink? I'll deal with it tomorrow. Half the time I'd forget. Dishes would sit there all night, plates with dried sauce, soggy cereal bowls, forks stuck together. And by morning, the smell was there. But I'd still ignore it. Because life, right? But funny thing, those weeks were always chaotic. Random parking tickets, subscriptions charging when I forgot to cancel, groceries going bad too fast. Just small things that made me feel like I was always one step behind. Then one night, I cleared the sink. Not because I was feeling spiritual, just because I was too annoyed by the smell. But the next morning, I felt something I hadn't in a while. Relief. The kitchen didn't stress me out. I made coffee without stepping over chaos. I paid a bill early on time, for once. And somehow, that tiny reset became a habit. Not for Fengshui, not for magic, just for peace. But you know what? My money flow, it felt less leaky. You'll feel it. Lighter mornings. Fewer money surprises. Random small wins a refund here, a discount there. Just start showing up. It's not magic. It's alignment. A clean sink isn't about dishes. It's a message. Money can move here, but clearing the dishes is just step one. What's hiding inside your drain? That's where the real wealth block lives. Ever catch that weird smell when you turn on the faucet? Yeah, that's not just your drain. That's your wealth energy going stale. You ever catch that weird smell when you turn on the faucet? It's sharp, damp, kinda sour. You light a candle, crack a window, and pretend it's not there. But it keeps coming back. Because the problem's not around the sink. It's inside it. Down in the drain, food scraps from last week are still clinging to the pipe. Oil is lining the sides. A soggy piece of lettuce is breaking down into something you don't even want to name. And the sponge you use? It's been soaked so many times. It basically has its own mood. We ignore it because it's out of sight. And honestly, we're too busy. But here's what Feng Shui sees. That space, dark, damp, rotting, is where energy gets stuck. They call it dead qi. It doesn't move. It doesn't breathe. It just sits there and pulls everything else down with it. And when your home is holding on to that kind of energy, you start feeling it in ways that have nothing to do with the sink. You forget small things. You get decision fatigue. Money slows down, not in big dramatic ways, just in subtle, annoying little ways that make life feel heavier than it should. You feel foggy, tired for no reason. Decisions pile up, bills go unpaid a little too long. Nothing's terrible, but nothing flows. Just like that drain. You don't need to scrub like a maniac. This isn't about getting your kitchen Pinterest clean. It's just about giving stuck energy a way out. Here's what I do. Once a week, usually Sunday morning, I boil some water, slice up a lemon, grab the baking soda I keep under the sink. First, I pour the baking soda into the drain, then squeeze the lemon juice in. It fizzes up, smells kinda nice. After a minute, I flush it with the hot water. Not too fast, just enough to feel like I'm clearing something. And while that's running, I take a sponge and wipe the rim of the drain, especially that back edge where things hide. Sometimes, I swap out the sponge completely. Cheap fix, big shift. It takes maybe 5 minutes. But every time I do it, the kitchen feels fresher, lighter, like something just let go. It's not about being spotless. It's about not letting things rot where your energy and your money is supposed to move. For the longest time, I just thought my kitchen had a smell. Nothing too bad, just that faint, sour, not quite clean feeling. I'd light candles, open a window, even spray that fake lemon stuff from under the sink. But it always came back, and I thought it was normal. Until one Sunday, I actually cleaned the drain, not just wiped the counter. I did the hot water, lemon, baking soda thing. Wiped around the back edge, tossed the sponge, and the next morning, I walked into the kitchen and noticed something weird. Nothing. No smell. No weight. Just clean air, like the room was breathing again. And I realized I'd gotten used to the stink. Just like I'd gotten used to things in life feeling stuck, delayed, slightly off. Sometimes we don't notice what's dragging us down until we clear it and finally feel the difference. Things feel lighter. You get through your to-do list faster. You don't forget stuff. Opportunities start landing smoother. Cash doesn't feel held up, it moves again. Clear drain, clear brain, clear gain. But even if your drain's clean, there's still something dripping in the dark. And it's leaking way more than just water. That little drip you've been ignoring? Yeah, it's not just wasting water. It's slowly leaking your money energy one drop at a time. A dripping faucet doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just background noise, right? You hear it late at night, plink, plink, and think, I'll deal with it later. I used to do that all the time. Honestly, I kind of tuned it out. It was annoying, sure, but not enough to actually do something about it. It became normal. I'd make coffee, and the drip was there. Wash dishes, still dripping. That little tick sound just blended into everything else I was ignoring. But here's where Fengshui hits different. Water is money, and when your faucet is leaking even just a little, your energy is literally dripping away. It's not like your bank account crashes overnight. It's quieter than that. You lose track of small charges. You pay something twice. You feel like your money's slipping, but you can't quite say why. And if you're like me, you brush it off. Because one little drip doesn't feel urgent. But that's how the slow leak wins. You stop noticing how much you're losing. The leak creates this subtle sense of loss. You earn, but don't retain. You plan, but end up dipping into your buffer. Little by little, your finances feel thinner. Not because you're reckless, but because something's always slipping. Look, I get it. Calling a plumber isn't fun. You've got stuff to do, bills to pay, and honestly, a little drip doesn't feel like an emergency. That was me too. I put it off for weeks. Sometimes I'd jiggle the handle like, there, fixed, even though it wasn't. But that sound, drip, 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 it's not just annoying, it's a signal. So one night, I finally got fed up. Didn't have tools, didn't want to YouTube my way into breaking it worse. So I just grabbed a small bowl from the cabinet and set it under the leak. Not to catch the water, but to catch myself. To stop pretending it wasn't there. And weirdly, that tiny act helped. It made the problem visible again. It told me, I see this, I'll deal with it. No more pretending. A few days later, I called someone. Took 15 minutes. Done. But even before it was fixed, just placing that bowl felt like I was saying, I'm ready to stop the loss. Sometimes that's all feng shui is. Not mystical stuff. Just noticing what you've been ignoring, and choosing to care even just a little. There was a time I didn't even hear it anymore. That faucet dripping all night was just part of the house. Like the fridge hum or the dog next door. It became background noise. Until one night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, annoyed, staring at the ceiling. And all I could hear was drip, drip, drip. It suddenly felt loud. Like it wasn't just water falling, but something I was losing. And honestly, that was the same month I overdrafted my account twice, got charged for something I forgot to cancel, and found myself saying, where did all my money go? Again, the faucet didn't cause it. I know that, but it matched it. That slow, invisible leak. It was happening everywhere. And once I fixed the damn drip, it wasn't like money rained in, but it stopped leaking out. And that alone felt like a win. After the fix, it was like a weight lifted. Money stayed in my account longer. Bills felt easier to manage. There was no miracle, just less drain. Every drop you ignore is a signal. I'm okay with letting abundance slip away, but leaks aren't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet clutter around you that creates the biggest block. How many things are crammed around your sink right now? Soap bottles, paper towels, vitamins, unopened mail? Yeah, let's talk about that. We all have those nights. You're washing dishes, but your mind's somewhere else. You're not cleaning, you're scrubbing through frustration. That thing, someone said. The bill that came in higher than you expected. The job that drains you. Your hands are in soap, but your thoughts are sharp. Every plate clinks a little too hard. Every glass gets rinsed with a little too much pressure. You're not just doing a chore. You're venting into water. I've been there honestly, more times than I'd like to admit. Dishes have heard me swear under my breath more than any human has. But here's the thing. In Fengshui, water holds emotion. And when you're standing at the sink, swirling resentment into it night after night, that energy sticks. It lingers. And eventually it seeps into more than just the dishes. The kitchen starts feeling heavy. Food doesn't taste the same. You stand there the next day and feel tired before you've even done anything. And your money energy? It starts to echo that tension. Delays, setbacks, things feeling harder than they need to be. It's not just about how you wash. It's about what you bring to the water while you do it. You notice it in little ways. You forget to pay a bill. You miss a deal because your inbox is buried. Your thoughts feel like they're stuck in traffic. Too many tabs open, can't find the one you need. Money doesn't flow in clutter, and neither does clarity. You don't need to be a minimalist, and you don't have to turn your kitchen into a catalog. But the space around your sink, it deserves to breathe. Start simple. Pick up every single item around the sink. Ask, do I use this? Like, actually use it? If the answer's no, toss it, or move it. If the answer's maybe move it anyway. Keep the essentials. 1 dish soap, 1 sponge, maybe a candle or a small plant if it makes the space feel calmer, not crowded. Wipe down the counter. Doesn't have to sparkle, just feel clean enough to rest your eyes. That's it. It's not about perfection. It's about creating a clear space where your energy and your money isn't bumping into clutter every time it tries to flow. And if you're like me, you might find an old coupon, a receipt you actually needed, or a weird sticky spot that reminds you, yeah, I've kind of been ignoring this. But once you clear it, you feel it. Not just in the kitchen, but in how your day starts. So there was this one afternoon. I wasn't even trying to clean. I was just looking for the good sponge. You know, the one that's new, but somehow never where you thought you left it. I started moving stuff around the sink. A bottle of almost empty dish soap, a candle I never lit, a spoon, and behind the paper towel roll was an envelope from the IRS. And I just froze for a second like, no way. Turns out, it was something I actually needed. Not scary, just a notice I was supposed to respond to. And I'd completely buried it under soap and clutter and, honestly, avoidance. It hit me then. The sink wasn't the only thing I'd been piling stuff on. Mentally, emotionally, same story. I cleared the counter that day. and I dealt with the letter. It wasn't a big thing, but it felt like one less weight. And the next morning, I actually wanted to be in the kitchen again. After that, mornings felt smoother. There was less searching, less forgetting. Even grocery spending got easier, like I could see what I actually needed. It wasn't just the clutter. It was what the clutter was covering up. Mess invites delay. Space invites flow. But sometimes it's not what's sitting still that blocks you. It's what you're pouring emotion into, without even realizing it. Ever scrubbed a plate like you're mad at it? Yeah, me too. And your money feels it. Sometimes, the dishes didn't even do anything wrong, but I still ended up scrubbing like I was mad at them. You know those nights. Long day, brain fried. Maybe someone said something that stuck. Maybe it's money, stress, or just life being a lot. And then you're standing at the sink, hands in hot water, sponge in hand, and your thoughts are going 100 miles an hour. You scrub hard. You slam the plate into the rack a little too loud. You curse quietly. You replay that annoying conversation. And somehow, the dishes become your punching bag. I've had nights like that, too many. And back then, I didn't think much of it. It felt like I was getting it out. But what I didn't realize was, I was pouring all that frustration into the space where I handle water. And in Fengshui, water is money. It's emotional. It carries things. And when you keep dumping stress, anger, or resentment into the water, it doesn't just vanish. It lingers. In the room. In you. In the way energy flows or doesn't through your space. And the worst part, you get used to it. You start thinking that's just how it is. Dishes equals dread. Kitchen equals tension. Money equals stuck. But it's not. It's just energy you forgot to clear. The more I did it, the heavier it felt. Not just emotionally, but energetically. Bills felt harder to face. Payments got delayed. Opportunities felt like they bounced off me instead of landing. I wasn't attracting stuck energy. I was the stuck energy. The goal isn't to pretend you're happy while doing dishes. That's fake, and honestly, exhausting. Instead, I started treating that moment hands in water, standing at the sink, as a pause, not a performance. Just a quiet reset. I don't force myself to smile or be peaceful, but I do stop for a breath before I touch the first plate. Not a deep, spiritual breath. Just one that says, okay, let's not bring the whole day into this. Some nights, I play soft music. Some nights, silence feels better. And when I can feel myself rushing or scrubbing too hard, I slow down just a little. It's not about being graceful. It's about not feeding the sink all the stuff I don't want to carry anymore. I even started lighting a candle nearby. Not to be fancy, I just like the warmth. It tells my brain, we're shifting gears now. And that's really it. The sink becomes less of a place where I vent and more of a place where I let things go. Not perfect, not poetic, but better. And sometimes better is everything. There was this one night not long ago. I'd had a rough day. Not dramatic. Just one of those days where nothing goes right and everything feels tight. Dinner was rushed. My back hurt, and I didn't want to look at another dirty plate, but I made myself go to the sink anyway. I was fully ready to be annoyed while washing like usual, but for some reason, that night, I paused. I took one breath, turned on a playlist I hadn't heard in years, didn't light a candle or anything fancy, just stood there, with the water running and told myself, you don't have to rush this, just don't fight it. And it was nice. I didn't feel magical. I still had dishes, but I wasn't feeding the sink all my stress. I just let the water carry the day away, little by little. And weirdly, I went to bed that night feeling lighter, like I didn't take the mess to sleep with me. Now, dishes still aren't my favorite thing, but the sink feels softer, calmer. And when my kitchen energy is calm, my money doesn't feel like it's sprinting out the door. I don't know the science behind it. I just know it works. How you wash is how your energy flows. So now that we've cleared the sink energy, let's bring it all together, one small reset at a time. By now, you've probably realized your sink has been saying things about your money long before you even noticed. If you're ready to shift the energy, just start with these 3 small, human, doable things. 1. Make clearing the sink your before-bed habit. Not perfect, just clear. Even if it's 1 plate and a spoon. Load the dishwasher. Rinse the drain. Wipe the faucet with a kitchen towel and say, let tomorrow's flow start here. 2. Reset the drain once a week, like emotional maintenance. Boil some water. Slice half a lemon. Add a spoon of baking soda. Let it fizz. Let it flow. And flush out the energy that's been stuck all week. It's not just cleaning. It's unclogging you. 3. Wash with presence, not pressure. You don't need to be calm. You just need to be here. Light a candle. Put on a playlist. Or just breathe. Let this moment be a quiet boundary between the chaos of your day and the stillness you actually deserve. That's it. No rituals, no crystals. Just real shifts in a space that holds your energy every single day. Let the water run clean, and let your money feel safe enough to stay. Sometimes the shift isn't loud. It's not some huge win. It's just looking at your kitchen sink, and for once, it doesn't feel like it's pulling you down. That's a start. And when one corner of your home begins to flow, other parts start waking up too. Quietly, naturally, almost like they've been waiting. If this part of the journey spoke to you, stay close, because next, we're opening the fridge. Yes, that cold humming box of forgotten leftovers and expired intentions. It holds more stuck energy than most people realize. So, when you're ready, I'll meet you there to clear space for the next layer of flow.